Hey guys, Davor here from Tennis House. The most important shot in tennis, the serve. If you are struggling with the serve, you have problems with the serve, I have today Nick Kyrgios and Casper Ruud on here, and I'm going to go through the main phases of the serve. And hopefully, in some of the stages, you might find something you can implement for your serve. So, if you want to improve your serve, definitely stay with me throughout this video. And let's get straight to it. So the first thing after the ball bounce is the weight on the front leg. You can see both players right here. They do that a little bit differently, but the weight is on the front legs. As you can see, the heels are up from both players right here. And Nick right here, both heels are up on the back leg. That means all the weight is on the front leg. And let's get to the next point, where they shift their weight from the front to the back. So now you can see two things. You can see here, the heels are up now on the front foot, and both players brought their rackets around waist height. If you would draw a line right here, the racket is around below or waist height, somewhere right there. All right, so that's how far you have to bring the racket and the tossing arm back with you down, guys. All right, it's going to make it easier for you to have a consistent toss. All right, so let's get to the next stage. Right here. And I want to point out an important phase on that toss, and that's right here. The players kind of release the ball around eye level. Right, Nick a little bit higher, Casper around eye level, at least head level. And if you release the ball right there, your toss most likely gonna go straight up, right this. If you release the ball too early, your toss will go forward. And if you release the ball too late, your toss is gonna go behind you, guys. So check when you're tossing the ball up, if you're releasing around eye level, so you can have a straight toss up and have a good toss placement. So beautiful here, both do that really good. And now another thing, if you look at the motion right here, the tossing arm goes up first. Okay, so I want to point it out just because everyone is different. A lot of players do that now this way, because when you bring both arms back in recreational level, especially if you're struggling with the toss and you're one of the players that brings the racket and the tossing arm first, you might toss the ball too far behind you every time because both arms go up and you cannot coordinate that. So those two guys here, they're focusing on that toss right here. So you see, because the tossing arm is the only thing that goes up. All right, so next time you go out there, if you struggle with the toss, you bring both arms up, try to bring the tossing arm up first. So that might help you with the toss. All right, guys, the next thing, whenever the ball is released and the ball is going to go up, I will pause at the peak. And I'll tell you now why I'm going to do that. So the peak of both serves is right here. All right, so you see the leg positioning of the both players, they're pretty similar. And the left arm is nicely up, as you can see here with Nick. It's straight up there. It's going to go even more up right here. Here we go. That's perfect. All right, so the tossing arm is nicely straight up, but there's a little difference that players have, and that's like kind of a style thing. And if you look at Casper Ruud's racket head here, Casper Ruud's racket head points straight up, and Nick's racket points with an angle there. Both is totally fine and both is great. So where do the recreational players struggle in this moment, guys? When the ball is at the peak, and remember that, a lot of recreational players have the strings pointing to the sky. Look at those both guys. Casper Ruud's strings are pointing at least to the side there, and the tip is up, right? And Nick Kyrgios' tip is up as well with an angle, and the strings point kind of forward, but none of their strings point to the sky. And what's going to happen now, why this is so important, and if you're still with me, guys, this is a very important thing. If you catch yourself when you record yourself having the strings up, try to keep either Kyrgios position right there or Ruud's position with the racket. So either it's 90-degree or you tilt it a little bit like Kyrgios. That's why that's important. I'm going to show you right now. Look at both rackets when they go behind their head. What's happening? Right here. All right, so look again. I always say, when you're in this position, look at their racket, the inside edge of the racket that goes, the inside goes in behind your hair, like you would comb your hair. Think about combing your hair or putting the racket behind your head. Comb your hair right there, and then it drops into this position. So very important. If you want to avoid having this position, you need to be up here, and the inside of the racket needs to go behind you guys. And now you have a little bit different style and variety here. So soon, look at their knees. As soon they explode, right here, the legs straighten out. The tip of the racket of both players points down. That's another section where you can control. When you have the racket head up and you change from the waiter position, you bring the inside edge here and you jump up and straighten the legs. Look, if your racket head is pointing down, the tip like they have both right here. Eyes are on the ball nicely of both players right here. And look if your racket tip points down. If not, try to get as good as you can in that position. All right, so the legs straighten out and the racket falls into the leg face, we call that. All right, and the next thing, pay attention how the elbow is going first to that ball. Nick's more than Casper's, but the first thing that goes up is the elbow. So you see the elbow is pointing to that ball. Another checkpoint in the serve, you can compare yourself when you do the serve that the elbow is shooting out first. And you can only do that if the inside edge went in first. If you're like this, you can't get the elbow up, okay, guys? So that's very important. If you have the waiter position, you can't throw the elbow up first. So compare yourself again, serve again, and check if the elbow is thrown up to the ball first. All right, and then after the elbow, the racket head goes up. Right, beautiful from Nick here. The left arm tucks in. So two things happen right after to counterbalance the action of acceleration of here on the hitting arm. They need to tuck in the left arm to stay balanced, as you can see. And very important, after the swing upwards, the forearm went, right? After the elbow, the forearm went up and the butt cap points forward. So they're like this. So if now you would think to yourself, how can they hit that ball? And that's when the long shoulder axis pronation comes in play. So they're pronating their forearm. That's the last thing that happens before the energy goes into the grip and into the racket. So that started all with the legs exploding and all the energy went until this moment right here, like right here. And you're going to see that right now. They hitting the ball, see, they turn. So they turn the forearm. The contact point is in front of them. See, a little bit in front of them. If you draw a straight line down, right there and right here, contact is a little bit in front. Very important. A lot of recreational players, it's all about the toss most of the time with the recreational players, right? So if you toss wrong, you're going to have a hard time serving. So that toss is a little bit in front of you. Remember that. And now look what happens after contact. Here we go. See how Nick is like this and Casper. So the strings point to the other side or behind, and the players pronated right here. Nice pronation. That's happening kind of automatically. If you don't have it at all in there, you need to work a little bit on getting that down. And then all happens because in this position, if you have the right grip, you need to pronate in order to get the ball in there. Again, look at their body, how balanced they are right here, right here. Very good balance from both players. And they're finished when they're done. They land on the left leg and the right leg goes up in their case. Very good balance again in the upper body when you look at them. So they jump forward. That's another thing recreational players don't do enough. They don't jump. Look where they're both landing. They're both landing inside the court. Very important that you jump inside and you balance yourself out and have a good landing there. All right. And then after their serve is done, a lot of players don't recover, but both of them, if you look, they split back and they're ready. This is one crucial point that the recreational players struggle with. After their serve is done, they're just standing there. So you guys out there listening, you served, you catch yourself, and you jump into the split like they do. And look at this nice athletic position. Whatever comes to them now, they're ready to answer. Especially when you play on hard court, guys, you want to make sure you're early ready after the serve because the ball comes fast back. You see that it's coming and they know what to do on the next shot. So if you don't recover, you're going to get catch off guard and you're going to might miss that next shot. Very important. And one thing on the recreational level, I forgot on that serve is when the loading phase right here, when they're loading the legs, a lot of players don't bend the knees enough. So as you see, Kyrgios has it a little bit bent and Casper a little bit more. You need to push into the ground to transfer all the energy up into that racket, guys. So you need to make sure that the energy goes upwards like a spiral, right? So if I start here, it goes up into the racket. So if you don't push into the ground and jump up, you're losing a lot of energy and power. All right, and the last thing on that beautiful service, look, I let it play and it never stops. The motion never stops. Very important. You see, that was a nice, fluid, never stopping motion. So you can't go up and wait and hit, you lose too much energy. You need to make sure it's a continued motion right here and they never stop serving. Beautiful, both players. I hope you guys found a few things that you can implement into your serve. And if you like those kind of videos, make sure you subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and I'm going to have the next video coming up soon, guys.